soon we are talking after this welcome hand, which is so white. It's maybe snowman who is actually welcoming us from Norway. I don't know why it's so white. Anyway, welcome to Diversity is the Game Changer, to the very special show today because of our so honorable and special guest. He's really helping Angel in Earth. That's why my podcast today, the title of our show, it's actually Jose Pereira helping Angel in the Earth. Welcome, heartfully, sir, to our show. It's so great privilege and honor to have you here with us today.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much. So welcome, my beautiful audience, to our show, the podcast where we really discuss diversity and inclusion, where we explore how our differences in background, thinking, and lived experience don't just shape who we are, they transform how we live, how we lead, and create impact. And today's episode, how I have already mentioned, is deeply powerful, emotional, and transformational. We are not just talking about diversity as a concept, we are talking about diversity as survival, strength, and leadership. But most of all, actually, I would like to say, after watching beautiful, I really advise to everybody, so impactful episode, show interview of our Angel Jose with Mr. Sel Aniano, which I was enjoying myself so much last evening. It was my treat, my dessert of the day, your show. So our guest today is a living testament to human resilience and the extraordinary capacity of the mind and spirit. He spent 5 years as international hostage, a reality that would break many, but instead became his determined way to enhance his faith in God and the foundation of his leadership philosophy. Jose Angel Pereira is the former CEO of CITGO Petroleum and today the founder of CEO of Jose Connect, where he helps not just C-suite leaders, founders, and entrepreneurs reclaim clarity, purpose, and inner strength, but everybody actually. I do love so much that your message really go to all over the world, to every single person, that you not exclude. You're so perfect with inclusion, and we will be talking today. I could hear again in this beautiful interview yesterday. It's not just the one interview, it was just the fresh, and they're really touching my heart. So inspired by his survival and his faith, Jose established the foundation Helping Angel in Earth, a mission-driven initiative devoted to serving people in vulnerable situations, like you said, in generational traumas, and offering hope, guidance, and human connection to those facing hardship and loss. His best-selling books, From Hero to how you I actually pronounce this word right? William.
William.
Yeah,
From Hero
William.
to William, yes.
Okay. And the true story of the CITGO and Unbreakable, I do love that much, we will be discussing. So our extension of your mission, raw, honest testimonies that invite readers to reflect, heal, and find strength in your own diversity of experience. So today your voice reaches leaders and people and communities around the whole world from really deep human side, not just as former hostage or former CEO, but as servant of God, committed to restoring hope, dignity, and resilience in others. So, dear Jose, sir, welcome to Diversity is the Game Changer. It's really pleasure, blessing, and honor to have you with us.
Thank you for having me. Wow, what an introduction. Off the camera we were talking, and then the audience that are hearing this, I had several connections with Norway because, first of all, the mother-in-law of my son lives in Norway, and the other thing is that our truly Venezuelan, that we admire so much, Maria Corina Machado, she won recently the Nobel Peace Prize, and it was a surprise appearance in Norway that she did. And by the way, she's going to be with Donald Trump in 2 days here in Washington, and I had the honor that I'm going to be this Saturday with her in Miami. There's going to be a gala in Miami that I invited, and she's going to attend that gala. So I'm going to have the honor to know her in person.
Wow, what a really great honor, both for her first of all to meet you, and for you. And of course, we know everything what has happened and how our countries are connected. And actually, you also shared with me in the writing format that you are also known with this guy, Great Bull Foundation, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he was participating in the rescue operation. We will be talking about that. But first of all, actually, before all these accomplishments, accolades, and actually your very, very diversified path, which was impacted in adversity and hostage, a lot of trauma and loss, and very, very beautiful converting to enhancing faith in God, and now you're servant of God. So I would like to um, ask actually about your childhood, because everything what's happened with us now, who we are today, I do believe strongly it's very much shaped by our childhood mindset, our family values, our roots. And I would like you to take us to the kingdom or the land or a fairy tale land of little Jose, little Angel, how he was, and how do you believe this guy and his mission, and now we know unbreakable spirit, actually even then I do believe it starts also from childhood, impact your grown-up life. So please, Mike is yours. We would like to know about this special and unique boy.
You know, this is very, very good question. Let me tell you why. Because I'm going to try to. It's going to be a long answer, okay?
Yes.
Let me try to go through this answer, because when I came back after my 5 year of captivity, I already had 3 years that I returned. I was having a lot of, I'm going to say honestly, a lot of PTSD events. And I begin to go to I attended a big trauma center here in the US. And by the way, I became very good friend of the director of that center. In fact, he did the prologue of my book. His name is Brian Klosner. He's a very reputed trauma recovery expert. And we became very good friends, and he explained me a lot the process I went through. After that, because I got connected to many of the foundations that work here in the US to support hostage families or former hostage or current hostages. And one of that foundation, Hostage US, they have one of the big support they give you is mental and physical support. So they appointed me a therapist that Daisy is with me since day one. So I had 3 years having a weekly session with Daisy. And we became so good friends that she's going to be one of my partners in my foundation for trauma recovery right now. But one of the things that when I was trying to heal and go through all my PTSD events, she walked me through my childhood. So there's where the come the answer. She walked me through my childhood, and she mentioned me that one of the strengths that we had during our captivity, how we managed to do it, it was because of our childhood. And let me tell you why. Because my dad, he passed when I was 14. So I was very young. I was very
Yeah.
young when my dad passed. But my dad was a guy with a very strong personality. He was a guy that he was a pioneer in the Venezuelan oil and gas production back in the 60s. So I come from that legacy, because my dad and his dad, and they were oil and gas pioneers on the Venezuelan oil production.
Yeah.
So he was very well known in Venezuela, in that area. And when I was a kid, as I said, he passed when I was 14. But that time, my dad was a guy that he was very well known. He was a guy that did strong connection in the community, in the community where he was a truly server of the community. And he always mentioned me something. He always mentioned me. I was a kid by the time, but he always told me that a man has to be like a ship that has to leave the trail in the sea, because that's going to be the legacy of your life. And he
Oh.
always was saying me that. So I grew up with that. When he passed, for me, giving a legacy was key in my life. So I began my career when I was 21, and I was always thinking on my legacy, my legacy, my legacy. And then I came to the point that when I was 55, I became the CEO of the company. And for your audience that doesn't know, I'm Venezuelan born. I came here to the US in 2012.
Mhm.
And in 2012, I was appointed to CITGO Petroleum that belongs to Venezuela. So CITGO
Mhm.
Petroleum, even that is a US-based company, the owner of CITGO Petroleum is a Venezuelan state oil company, PDVSA. So I by that time I was appointed here and as an expat. So I always mention that I didn't come here to the US like a normal immigrant. I came
Mhm.
like expat assigned to a foreign company. And
Mhm.
after several years, I came to be the CEO of the company. So for me, was a kind of the legacy of my life, becoming the top of the company that my work, my dad began working. So I was thinking in that legacy. But then happened my hostage situation. I became
Yeah.
a hostage of Maduro, the guy that was taken
Uh,
recently, that everybody knows in the news. That guy took us because we, unfortunately, that happened during the first Trump administration,
mhm.
and they were having a lot of issues that see how it unfolded finally. No? But the point was that we were caught in that geopolitical tension, and we became the pawns of that tension between Trump and Maduro. And well, we stayed 5 years during the negotiation to get us released. So when I came back after these 3 years that have been going through my therapy session, my dear friend Daisy, her name is Daisy Rosenberg. She's my therapist. Daisy always tells me that one of the things that made me survive was all that legacy they had when I was a kid. Because
Mhm.
I grew up always thinking in my life that I needed to have a strong mindset to leave my legacy. And that
Mhm.
really made me survive. I didn't know why. I always say that God prepares you for what. So for some reason, God was kind of preparing me, was preparing me. So when I went through my 5 years of hostage, I'm not going to say it was easy. It was not easy, but I was already well equipped.
Mhm.
Even I was not prepared, because I always mention that when even you think you have preparation in life, when something extreme in your life comes, nobody's prepared.
No.
I, I can mention you that during my more than 3 decades of career in the oil and gas, I did a lot of training in risk management, in
Mhm.
because oil and gas is a risky business. There's
Exactly.
always risk of a blow up or a fire or something bad happening in a refinery, etc. So I was prepared for that, but I was not prepared for what happened to me. But my previous life since a kid had prepared me. So I
Mhm.
came prepared because of what happened in my life, not because of my business. And this is something that today I truly believe that was the hands of God. Was the
Mhm.
hands of God. Really.
Wow, thank you for really profound answer. What a beautiful story, and at the same time also motivational encouragement for so many people. First of all, to, like you said, to think about this ship and legacy. Maybe it will be not. Maybe I'm sure a very good tool for them to take out from our show and from your experience that can help them to survive and to stay very, like, strong will, strong mind in the same situation or in another type of adversity. So I'm so thankful for your dad's example, and that he can give you this story. Though of course it's very sad to know that he passed away when you were just 14, but at the same time you could like ignite and you could gain so much knowledge, like you said, to be prepared for your future, to be equipped. The second, for me, it's the most important. I'm proud Ukrainian, and you know how many people now, what we are struggling, what we are going through, and how many people are returning now from the war fields and will be returning, and exactly not maybe in the same way, but it will be again, and it's already I can manage, and I could meet many people with PTSD disorders, right? So many traumas. And
Mhm.
I'm so grateful to you that the person like you, CEO, strong-minded, all these titles, accolades, people you could meet in your life, everything what you'd experience, that you are sharing so boldly and honestly for everybody else now, that you from day one was not like, you know, still in Soviet Union to take therapy. It's like a shame, and like it's a status of to be ashamed or weakness or something. It's still taboo, it's still stigma. So thank you so much that you're actually sharing so openly about Daisy. I will be more than happy to host her on the show and thank her for what she's doing in her life and she's doing for you and this guy who's actually
You
your
know, I'm gonna send you the link because she was a guest in my podcast. You had to hear her.
okay.
She- She's a wonderful person. And let me tell you something. What you're mentioning about the taboo is the same thing for us because I'm from Venezuela. So
Mm-hmm,
Venezuela in almost in all Latin America.
mm-hmm,
Talking about trauma, talking about going to a therapist is a real taboo. Because when you say that you're going to a trauma therapist, the people see you like you are crazy.
mm-hmm.
So nobody talks about that. And that is one of the reasons I decided to create the foundation Angels Helping in Earth. Because one of the big issues we have in our community, because Angels Helping in Earth is going to be very focused in the Hispanic community. And I
Mm-hmm.
live in Houston. The people that doesn't know, Houston is Texas. We're the border with Mexico. And here in Houston, we have like 3 million of Mexicans.
Yeah,
So there's a big Mexican community. Not only Mexican, today is
Latino.
very diverse. There are people from Salvador, Nicaragua, Peru, Bolivia, Venezuela. So one of the pattern of the Hispanic, they don't speak about their traumas.
Mm-hmm,
And one of the big issues that we have here is that normally the immigrant that come here to the U.S., for example, the Venezuelan that has a big diaspora,
mm-hmm,
why the people flew from the country? Because they were or starving or they were being chased by the communist regime, or they have sexual abuse, or they have human trafficking. So there are a lot of issues. The people, when they come here, they already come with a trauma.
yeah,
But because they don't speak about the trauma, they don't have ways to have help to the trauma. As you mentioned, it becomes a generational trauma. So
yeah,
this is something that one of the main pillars of the foundation is to cut that. And Daisy, that she's a specialist. Daisy is from Colombia. She's from Colombia, and really got a great connection. Not only because she became my therapist and she helped me a lot, but we also became friends
mm-hmm,
because and when she knew that I was trying to start the foundation, she told me, oh, I want to be there, and now she's going to be partnering with me. So I'm going to show you her podcast. She was my guest because this is something incredible when you decided to talk openly about
exactly.
this, because
Mm-hmm,
I don't have no shame. I don't have no shame to say that I needed a therapist, because I try to put my case an example that you have to speak. And when I decided to begin to talk, I decided to do podcasts, or I have on my own podcast, or
mm-hmm,
I go to do conference, or I wrote my book. So everything goes around that. So I use this not only to an example to help others, also to heal myself,
exactly.
also to heal myself.
I know, not from like second opinion, or I'm learning more and more, of course, and even now I'm sitting all my atoms and molecules, like they're really like embracing everything what you're saying, because it's again, um, it's proof to my testimony. It's exactly why I started my podcast last year. And believe me or not, it was the same purpose, to heal myself through healing other people and giving my story. Because my podcast, I started, Jose, where? Being in mental institution.
Wow. Wow.
I won Mrs. Norway. I won Mrs. World Congeniality. I was in Las Vegas on the big stage. I am at the same time like in the Cannes Film Festival red carpet. But the same person was last year 4 weeks in mental institution because I have OCD, I have neurodivergence, I have had a lot of depression episodes due to the war in my country, and I had helped so many people putting mask on them like on the plane, but I forgot about my mask, right? But one day, like you, I decided it's my strength to be responsible, to do something with my health, to fix myself as soon as possible, that I can again go and be uh, healer and be supported by showing my story to the community. So I'm really, really putting myself on knees and there's people like you, because it's not weakness, it's not shame, it's a strength. It's
Yeah.
exactly what you're doing. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for you choose this path. Can you imagine how many people now will be listening to you and me and talking like, wow, if these guys actually they need therapy and they can turn their really, really big adversity to the creative fuel to heal people. And I know you will be participating. You told with you were discussed with Sal yesterday that you will be talking about your testimony in the Miami, right, for
Yeah,
50,000.
yeah. Let me tell you, I got invited.
Mhm.
See the hands of God. I did a podcast with the pastor of my church,
Yeah.
and that podcast became viral, where
Mhm.
told my testimony, and I received a call from a guy that's organizing this big festival. It's gonna be called the Revival 250.
Okay.
No, that's not in Miami. This is gonna be in Jacksonville. That festival is in May.
Mhm.
So the guy, he contacted me, and I didn't have no clue what he wanted to talk with me. So when
Okay.
we had the Zoom call, he said, Jose, I saw the podcast that you recorded with your pastor. And I got so shocked with your story. They said, I want this guy to be part of the event. So now I'm going to share my testimony in the Jacksonville Arena in May. There are going to be around 15,000 people in the event, but they're going to air it, broadcast it worldwide to 50
Mm.
million people.
Can you
So,
imagine?
so my testimony is going to reach 50 million people. So God is using you when you decided to talk openly, when you decided to do it purposely. That,
Mhm.
that, that is not because one of the things that, Valeria, that I really discovered that this is something that, for some reason, it became like a gift that God gave to you, and He gave it to you to share it to help others. My pastor always mentioned that the
Mhm.
power of the testimony is really powerful. You
Mhm.
can be a pastor, you can be, preaching and telling the word, and the people will hear you. Oh, he speak beautiful. But the power of a testimony, because when you say how God can transform you, how can God do a miracle in your life, that is very powerful. And that's my story, and I believe that is your story too. So there's where you can use that for the good. Look what I'm doing today, because everybody that's hearing this knows what's going on with Venezuela, because Venezuela became trending first because Maria
Mhm.
Corina, that she won the Nobel Prize, and second about the way that Maduro was captured. So
Yeah.
now the country is in the process of the transition. Is very messy what's going in Venezuela in this
Mhm.
moment, because we still are not yet there. I believe there is gonna happen a transition that we're gonna go to the democracy.
Mhm.
We had more than 25 years with a communist regime. By the way, one of the government that really, really tried hard to help was Norway. The government of Norway has been during years trying to put the opposition and the government together, and they get sick and tired. This guy always was lying and lying and delaying, and never nothing happened. So now the people in Venezuela are confused. They don't know what's going on. We have a lot, the people are now, there's an issue there with the political prisoners. So those political prisoners was my colleague during 5 years. I know all of them. So I was the other day hearing a guy that I follow in YouTube he was talking about the Venezuelan situation, and he said, "Hey, everybody that's hearing this, if you have something to say, please begin to speak." And I said, "Oh, Jose, you have to speak." So I decided to do every day. I'm doing a 3 minutes video trying to explain what's going on according to my perspective. I started 3 days ago.
Okay.
And I already have almost 1 million views.
Wow.
Almost 1 million views, because the people need information what's going on. And I begin to talk about the political prisoner, and next week I'm going to begin to talk about the transition in Venezuela with the returning back of the American oil and gas companies, because that's my experience. I was there, so I really can help on that area. So I decided to begin to try to illustrate a person, because there's a lot of confusion in what's going on today. So my contribution is, for some reason, God gave me, I was in positions that now I have ways to help and try to clarify what's going on. And well, I decided to do this video to try to illustrate the people. And I got surprised how much people are looking, because that means that the people need answers, needs guidance. And I had 3 days I began to do that.
Wow, amazing. I do appreciate everything what you're doing and how passionately you are involved in this. And exactly, I want to talk about, like, because you are sharing that this is your domain, this is your story, and I know you are into fourth generational oil family, right? And I know also your multicultural heritage yourself, because you've been mentioning that actually partly also it's a Dutch, right? Because of Royal Dutch Shell Company, you that. And that's why you're so inclusive, and you're always embracing diversity and how actually everybody should be treated. Yesterday I mentioned on this show that while you were at all the positions, so actually it was more than 44 cultures under your belt, right? And exactly how you should treat all the people with inclusion, with respect, and really, really equally. And you said, I'm citing you now, that I really was touched yesterday. I almost was like with tears. Like, the most important, doesn't matter religion, cultures, and backgrounds and history of the people, that the most important, you should connect with people from the human side, from empathetic side. It was your words. Could you please, because our podcast diversity is the game changer, and you know what's happened actually last year in US, everybody was so afraid to talk about diversity, but actually how we can be afraid? We're all different. We're talking about this, we are not talking. It's like biodiversity, like DNA diversity, fingertip diversity. We are diverse, we should talk about that, right?
Yeah. Let me tell you what was my story regarding to that, because as I mentioned, and you said that I have a 4th generation in my family of oil and gas workers, because my granddad came from from the Netherlands to Venezuela in 1920s. So he arrived to Venezuela as an oil and gas worker. He got married with my grandma, and then my dad and my mom both. My dad and my mom both work in the oil and gas.
Oh,
I got graduated and began to work in the oil and gas, and my son got graduated and also worked in the oil and gas. So we are 4 generations. And the 4th generation, we are very tied to what happened in Venezuela during all these 100 years. By the way, my second book, I'm going to talk about that.
Yeah.
about that, my story tied to the Venezuelan oil and gas, because I didn't know why, but I always was in the events. And believe me, when I was in my captivity, I had a lot of time to revisit my life. And I was always thinking and rethinking. And I began to see the pattern, that thing that happened in my life. And I said, wow, Jose, God was putting you always in places that you can tell the story. So I now have a story to tell about my tie to the Venezuelan oil and gas production during almost 100 years. And the point is that when I began to work, when I was 21, I already, because I had lived here when I was a kid here in the US, because my dad, as an oil and gas worker, he was appointed here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He did his PhD in oil and gas here in Tulsa. And so I moved to here to the US when I was 5 years. We returned to Venezuela when I was 12, and my dad died 2 years after, when I was 14. So when I got graduated, I was 21, and it began to unfold all that recoming of the oil and gas companies from the US, Europe, Asia, and by that time, PDVSA, that was the Venezuelan state-owned company, the officers didn't talk English. One of the few people that talk English was me. So they appointed me in that area. That's how I began to work in that area, in the international side. So I began to have a lot of communication with all these international companies. And at the end of my career, I became the director of the PDVSA affiliated called CBP, the Corporación Venezolana del Petróleo, where all these companies were under my belt. 44 companies. There were 44 companies. And 44 companies, I had people, a company from here, Conoco, Exxon, Shell, Statoil, Total, CNPC, Teikoku, JBF, CPS, all the international companies. Company from the India, company from Malaysia, companies from China, from Italy, from all over the world. And it was like a Babel Tower,
Yeah.
people all over the cultures. But the way we could connect was in the human side.
Yeah.
That's the way we connected, because even we had different cultures, different religions, different color, different skin, different language, different, many things different. But we connected with all these people, being people. And I really got some good friendship. I always joke, because today I have a WhatsApp group with the former Japanese company that I worked 30 years ago. And now all these guys are retired with grandkids, and we have a WhatsApp group. So because we really created friendship, and we created friendship was because we were treating us like family. So really, it was a beautiful moment when we could, because we were trying to create things, and the way we could create things was not looking them as a partner. We saw them like friends, and so we created bonds, we created friendship.
Like a family, almost. Yes, exactly. It's like you also very kindly now refer to the people who are still in the captivity, and you call that, these people, you've been so tied together, you absolutely and understand could help each other, because as I understood from your interview yesterday, it was you were isolated like first year, right? 1 year, and you were together with people. And actually I would like to talk about this, of course, very painful period, very, like you said, you could revisit your story, your life so many times, but about really this unbreakable spirit, which Captain Phillips, but you can share this story now, gave you this gem, these hidden gems. I do love that much, that actually it's so true that through whole your life you were like equipped, you were given all these signals, but again, it's your talent now actually to reflect that you could be given all these tools to um, really stand in this situation by God, and how you actually really find enhance faith in God, and how He helped you every single day, and how you guys were praying every single day. Could you please share with us? Because I do believe your story is so inspirational, so strong. It can help and go viral, really, and helping so many people now, especially in my country, for Ukrainian hostages, like, or people who are back, how they can find faith back. And of course, then we can speak more about your foundation, which also now the real action, how you really go with this message of God. You're really servant of God. So can you tell us about this very special 5 years of your life? And you please, of course, freely pick up the gems and tools that we can give as a helping tools to people who can hear us today. Please. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Captain Philip. Let me tell you to
Yeah,
your
let's
audience
start from.
how the Captain Phillips come in my life. And I truly believe that was an angel what that
Mhm,
happened in my life. Today, when you open your spiritual eyes, you
mhm,
begin to see the things in a different way. You begin to see things that happen in your life that was happening because God was forging you. God was preparing you. You didn't know why. You went through some events in your life. And so picture this. Many people that can be hearing this are going to process in their life. And
mhm,
sometimes you say, oh God, why this is happening to me? He's preparing you.
mhm,
He's preparing you. Because the only way you can be prepared is going through those events, going through your own valley. So that look what happened to me. I was that 2017, I was the CEO of the company. As I said, after more than 3 decades, I became the CEO. I was in the pinnacle of my career, everything. I had my perfect life. And one day I I saw that the things between the US and Venezuela, Trump, Maduro was not going okay. I decided to get retired.
mhm,
Even I was in the pinnacle. I said,
mhm,
I don't like this. I'm gone. By the way, let me tell you, my wife always will sometimes have some discussion because of that, because she told me to retire 1 year before.
okay.
And I waited 1 year more. No, let me wait until the things really were not. I began to have ethical, thing, because I didn't like what was going with this guy Maduro, So I
Mhm,
decided to get retired. And I flew to Venezuela, to
mhm,
where my boss was, because remember, CITGO belongs to the Venezuelan state oil. So I flew to Venezuela to talk with my boss that was in Venezuela to accept me to get retired. And
mhm.
and and back and forward, he approved my retirement. So I'm coming back to Houston. It was a 5 hour flight, and I was already glad that he accepted my retirement. He asked me to wait some months to
Mhm,
my replacement, but I was already in my retirement mode. So I received a phone call in the plane,
mhm,
from the person of PR, asking me that the day after, that was a Saturday, the day after, that was a Sunday, there was going to close a summit of the company. And
mhm.
I needed to go because I was the CEO. I had to attend the closing of the event. Okay, I went with my wife, and normally in those events, in the closing, they brought a motivational speaker.
Yeah,
And they brought Captain Phillips, the real Captain Phillips, not the character that Tom Hanks played in the movie, the
yeah.
real guy.
Mhm,
That guy, as the people can remember the movie, he was a captain of a ship that was captured by the Somali pirate, and he
yeah,
was a hostage.
yeah.
So I didn't know that story 1 month after will become my story.
Your story. Mm,
But when that guy finished his speech, I got so touched what he mentioned, that he came and he seated in the table with me. And I told him, wow, what a story, my friend, how you survived that. And
mhm,
there's where it comes the unbreakable spirit, because that guy told me that everybody has inside an unbreakable spirit, that what you need to do is unleash it, because we are creature of God, and what we have to do is connect with God and unleash that. And that message touched me so hard that when I was driving back to my house, I told my wife, why this guy told me this? I didn't know why that guy gave me that message. Believe me, 1 month after I was going through that ordeal, captured, accused to be an American spy, going to a dungeon in an armored truck, and only thinking in those words. So those words, believe me, in those critical moments, made me survive. Because I was thinking, I have an unbreakable spirit. I have it. I need to unleash it. In the next year, I was in a solitary confinement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of time to rethink my life. I
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of time to revisit my life. And when I begin to revisit and revisit and revisit, because I didn't have nothing more to do than think.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like a daily meditation with myself.
Yeah.
And yes, everybody has that unbreakable spirit. So every time I talk with people that they say, I will never do what you did, I said, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You don't know it, but you can. But you need to unleash it. So
Yeah.
everybody that's hearing this, if you're going to anything in your life and you think you cannot make it, you can make it. What you have is to believe you can make it, and believe in God. If you
Yeah.
believe in yourself and you believe in God, the things will happen, because that is what faith is. That is the basis of the faith. When you pray and you say, God, I'm going through this situation today, but I know that I'm in your hands, and I'm gonna be whatever I want to be. So you believe it. Even you don't see it, you believe it. And there's where the things change in your life. There's where the miracle happens.
Wow, so beautiful, so profound. I'm really shaking and like I have goosebumps, and I really, really feel it, like with the flow, with the energy, like with the spiritual vein, like And in this vein, I would like, please, I think it's so beautiful story about faith that actually doesn't matter what kind of religion and country and people's background, but if you do really believe, and how many people actually through your faith and belief discovered that also they wanted to commit to be also servant of our God, our faith. That could you please share this very beautiful story about your good friend pastor in that translated your book for Bengali, and now
Oh yeah, yeah,
please
yeah.
do that. I think it's so
By the way, I have a talking today with him. Yeah, on this journey, I begin to connect with, because it's incredible how you begin to connect with people when you decided to talk about this, and you really uh, feel the passion in what you're doing. You begin to connect with people, the vibe and the same vibe that you are vibing. Like I'm talking today with you.
yeah.
Like I'm talking today with you. So so I got connected to this pastor. His name is Rachel Rana, Pastor Rachel Rana. He's from Bangladesh. So one day he called me. One day he called me and he began to hear me. And he said that he wanted me to be his mentor. And I said, I'm not a pastor. How can I be your mentor? He said, no, but I need your guidance. And yeah, because humbly, I had my experience. So I began to guide him, because the story of Pastor Rachel is incredible, because Bangladesh is a Muslim country. So his family was Muslim, but he has an encounter with Jesus when he was in the high school.
Okay.
And with that encounter, he decided to give his life to Jesus, and he began to have issues with his family. In fact, his family threw him away, so he had to move to live with a friend, and that friend at the end he moved from one city to other, and finally he lived with a pastor, and that's where he became a pastor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So now all his family was converted to Jesus. So all his family today are Christians. So,
Okay.
but he put in his ministry, because he became the coach of the National Football Club of Bangladesh. So
Uh-huh.
he was a football coach. So he began to evangelize kids. So his ministry was talking to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where he connected to me, because he wanted to grow his ministry. And well, we were talking one day, and I was, because I began to do Zoom calls every week with him.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I was doing a Zoom call with him, and his wife came and told me, Jose, I had the opportunity to read your book, and it touched me so much. I could not keep crying reading your story, and it will be wonderful if we could tell this story here in Bangladesh. But
Mm-hmm.
the people in Bangladesh doesn't speak English. The book
Mm-hmm.
was in English, and
Mm-hmm.
he told me, I'm gonna take care to try to translate to Bengali. And
Wow.
okay, he told me that. Okay, I didn't think nothing. And 1 month after, he came back to me saying, Jose, I translated the book. In
Oh,
1 month, he translated in 1 month.
wow. So
And I said, how you did that? He said, he put 11 people to translate the book. So he got 11 people, gave several chapters to, and in 1 month he translated the book. He translated, he did the cover, everything in Bengali. So when I have already the manuscript, the cover, everything,
mhm,
I self-publish it in Amazon. So I put it in Amazon. So now the book was in Spanish, in English, and in Bengali.
mhm.
Amazon blocked the book because they sent me a letter saying that Bengali is an unsupported language. And I got mad, and I began a dispute with Amazon, because I said, hey, friends, Bengali is spoken for more than 100 million people. Bangladesh has 60 million people, and there is a region of India where they
Yeah.
also speak Bengali. So there are more than 100 people in the world that speak Bengali. I began to back and forth with Amazon, but Amazon finally shut it down,
Oh my God.
the Bengali. And well, okay, I gave up. I said, okay, well, okay, no problem. So
Mhm.
I came back to the pastor and said, well, pastor, the Bengali is not supported, sorry. He said, no, I'm going to publish it. So he decided to go to a publisher in Bangladesh, and he began to not publish it. He began to do photocopies, and begin to share the photocopies. And he began to go to city to city to city to city. Long story short, already 100,000 people have read the book. Now the government want to publish it. They invited me to go next month to Bangladesh. They're gonna do a red carpet. They're gonna publish around 20,000 books. They want them to put in the universities, in the
Mhm.
museums, in libraries, in the schools, blah blah. So, but the point is that he began to use my book to
Mhm.
evangelize,
Mhm.
because he found that the people that got connected to my story and saw how God restored me,
Mhm.
began to get curiosity to know more about God and Jesus, and he began to bring people to Jesus using my book. So now he's using my book to evangelize people in his country.
Amazing story. Now I really want. Uh, I started dreaming of having him one day on my podcast, because now I want to discuss his unbreakable spirit. You see, he has unleashed his unbreakable spirit. He wanted to have you as a mentor. First of all, oh my God, what a privilege! I would be more than happy, of course, to have you as a mentor. And then because he was so also dedicated to his faith, first of all, you
Mhm.
shared the story that first issues his family and everything, and then again, God is helping him, bringing him angels like you. It's now you're also his angel at the same time as he is your angel, because it's so true how you are saying brilliantly that life in everything what is going on not happen to us, it's happened for us.
For
And when
us,
we
yes.
start thinking and really seeing that and believing in it, and how we can turn on it, first of all, for us, like you said, first of all, you had 1 year to talk and visit yourself and
Mhm.
meditate, then you can also start creating for other people. So beautiful story. And the last part I would like to elaborate, of course, and address to you, angels happen on earth, that you can share as much as possible, that it should go really viral also. And I don't know how much you believe in collaboration, in partnership, and the art of giving. So, and if we can just put a little bit in this part, because it's so inclusive foundation for everybody, and my passionate advocacy, it's neurodiversity. It's also to make as inclusive as possible our communities for people with neurodivergence. And neurodivergence is basically so easy, like people with different spectrums, like autism, ADHD, OCD, dyslexia, dyspraxia. We have just brains that wire differently. We are not outsiders. We are not weak. We are not low, like losers, like, broken. We're just people with different perception of the world. And we need to talk, like in Venezuela, in Soviet, more and more. It's anti-tabulized also, right? So how we can actually, with help of your organization, your message, and angels happen in earth, to spread even more message to all people, inclusively also people who is neurodivergent. Thank you.
Yeah, for your audience, see how this came, because as as I mentioned, I stayed 5 years in my captivity. After my second year, my first year that I was in solitary confinement, but after all the negotiations that were going back and forward, in the second year, we were put together. We were 6 guys. That's why we were called the CITGO 6, because we were 6. So we
Okay.
were separated, and after 1 year, they decided to put us in a same room, the 6. So now we're 6 guys in that room, and we begin to do many things. But one of the things that for me was key, that we begin to pray and to read the Bible in a daily basis at the end of the night. So when it came like 8 p.m. in the night, we begin that kind of a Bible study, and then we prayed, and we stayed like 3 hours.
Oh.
So we stayed from maybe 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. And after that, we went to bed and we rested in peace.
Mm-hmm.
I was really in a moment of peace every day. When we begin to do that, that gave us a lot of peace, because
Mm-hmm.
we really was thinking that we were in the hands of God.
Mm-hmm.
So I was one night I was dreaming, and I had a dream. It came a dream to me, but it was a real vivid dream,
Mm-hmm.
that God came to me and he took me to the future.
Mm-hmm.
So he took me from that place and he took me to another place in the future. And I came into a building. And when I came into the building, I was in the building. I saw the offices. At the end, I saw some classrooms, a student in those classrooms. I see a TV studio. I saw my daughter. My daughter, she's very heavy in the social media. She's what they call the influencers. So
Mm-hmm.
I saw my daughter there recording. I saw a studio. Today I have my own studio. Okay, and I saw my other son. I saw a lot of things, and I asked him, "What is this?" And he told me, "This is your foundation. This is the foundation that you're gonna create, and it's gonna be called Angels Helping in Earth." My name is Jose Angel, so my
Yes.
second name is
Yeah.
Angel.
Yeah.
And well, I woke up and I said, "Why I had this dream?" I didn't know if it was a dream or what was, but the truth of the matter is that it impacted me so much that I decided to take a paper and write down everything that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like a org chart, because in that dream I saw my son, my daughter-in-law. I saw all my family working with me there,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody has some duty. So I created the name, the org chart, everything that I saw, and I sent that letter to my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I smuggled that letter and sent it to her.
Mm-hmm.
When I came back years after, she had that letter, and she gave me the letter, and she confessed that when she received that letter, she saw that I was going crazy, because this guy is having delirium, She thought I was having delirium because why he's thinking in this. And I came and I began to go to my therapy, my healing process, and I begin to go and begin to do conference for my book, started my podcast. One day, today I have a TV show. So everything began to unfold. I begin to see things happening, but it keep popping up the idea of the foundation. And I started in my church. There is a Hispanic church here in Houston. I'm very connected to my church. And I began to see the needs in the Hispanic community. And now and talking on a weekly basis with my therapist, everything began to come together. It's where I learned that I needed to create a foundation. So one day I didn't have no clue how to do a foundation. So I starting point is, okay, I need to create a foundation. I need some help. So I saw a pastor that he was giving a online webinar how to create a foundation.
Okay.
And his name is Pastor Willie Peterson. And I attended the webinar. And when the webinar finished, I wrote him in the chat, said, Pastor, I want to have a Zoom call with you. And then we had a Zoom call, and I asked, Pastor, I want you to come to help me. And I asked my idea of the foundation. And he told me, why me? And I said, because God told me it has to be you. And he said, oh, if God told you, I had to follow his obedience. I have more than 1 year working with him. He helped me organize everything, and the foundation came alive in December. So now we're organizing all the creation. If you go to my webpage, there is angelsin.earth. Angelsin.earth. You will see everything that everything is coming together. 2 weeks ago, we did in December, we did toy donations. That I received a bunch of toys. So we did the foundation started with the toy donations for the people in need for the Christmas, So, and I have a friend that he's very heavy in the food drive. I have my therapist that's going to help me in the trauma recovery, because the foundation is going to have 4 pillars. The first pillar is trauma recovery. Trauma recovery. We're going to do seminars, training, one-on-one session, etc. on trauma. The second pillar is going to be legal support. I have a friend that is a lawyer, and some lawyers are going to work on pro bono basis to support, there is a lot of issue here with the immigrants in the U.S., as you know, so supporting them in things like immigrations, or if they want to start up a business. Okay? This is the second pillar. The third pillar is the food drive. The food drive. They have a friend here that is heavy in that area. I'm gonna work with him in the food drive, and the fourth pillar is training. Because one of the biggest issues that here in the U.S. happened with the Hispanic community is that they don't integrate to the American society. So one of the big issues, this is very typical of here. I live in Houston. There's some areas here in Houston that you go there is like being in Mexico. Nobody speaks English. Everybody speaks Spanish, and the culture is totally Hispanic. And I'm not saying that you have to embrace your heritage, but you have to embrace the country where you live in too. So part of the way that we're thinking is to integrate the people. For example, giving training that English as a second language, or training of citizenship, that they can understand the culture of. So this is going to be a very special pillar of seminars, leadership seminars that I'm going to begin to do. People of the community that maybe they become leaders of their community, so giving some training to them. So this is going to be the 4 pillars of the foundation. This is I see this like this is again as a wrap up. When I started with my dad with a legacy, this is the legacy that I want to give to the world.
What a powerful, beautiful legacy, of course, you are creating, but the most important, how you really put in your heart into that. through the face of God, and how you really lovely treat people with empathy and from really human side. So if you need any kind of help from my um, passionate advocacy from me, how I can help you also for your
I'm open to any collaboration, any contribution, anything that everybody that contacted me, I always say, if you want to help, come with me. Because Pastor Willie, he's a guy that has more than 37 years helping a foundation to start up. And he
Mhm.
mentioned me, Jose, during the last year, I have not heard nobody talking about something like what you're doing. There's a lot of issues here in the US with the immigrants. And
Mhm.
people want to help and they don't know how to help. So your organization can be the vessel to channelize that help.
Okay. And you know, like everything when you are involved, first of all, from really deeply your heart and soul, so all puzzle like really put themselves on the place. Like just last week, I was contacted by one lady. She even wrote the book, and she's really into helping immigrants in the US, and she wants to be on my show, and she asked
Well,
about that.
put her in
So
contact with me.
I will
Put,
contact
yeah.
you with her, and actually I do believe she is actually Latin heritage. She does live in California, but it doesn't matter. She really into
Put her in
health.
contact with me. Put her in contact
Yeah,
with me.
I
Yeah.
will put that's for sure. And more I can think now. I know more about 4 pillars, and of course I will be always keeping them in mind. And I'm sure we can help each other and to be so uh, impactful, to create impactful collaboration. Of course, it's my privilege now. Like if I could have sit like in like your seat in, I'm not wishing that like and visiting you meditated in isolating many hours every day. I could be sitting a lot of hours with you and just having embraced a lot of experience and knowledge and gaining so much impactful. I don't know even how to experience, right? But I know that the show should wrap up soon, and my very last task, not task, but actually I found it myself to be a little bit creative, but also to have a little bit magic. We need more creating magic ourselves in our very challenging times, especially now. You know what's going on in Ukraine, you know what's going on in your country and everything that's going on. So at this point, I'm always inviting, how I call it, my vice president here in the studio, and people are, oh, cool, we'll be 3 of us now. But then I pull up this one,
Oh, wow.
and you see, this is very cute, pinky beauty, very strong-minded, but also is doing everything from the spirit and heart and with face of God, and really like from for the human side. So you know what it is, right?
uh,
Can you
it,
see it?
it's a, this is a lamp.
Yes, this
Is
is
the
it.
Aladino lamp?
This is
Aladino
the
lamp?
Aladdin lamp,
Ah, okay,
exactly.
okay, okay, okay. Okay, sir.
And you know, I wanted actually now, even if I had a small ship for legacy, but we can imagine that we can make all kind of wishes. We started this podcast about very powerful part of our life. It's our childhood, and thank you so much for your encouragement. For everybody, especially who is dealing with PTSD, they should go to their childhood and to talk inside with their inner child. And then also I would like to wrap up with something childish, and then Aladdin fairy tale. And you know this genie lamp in the fairy tale, it was granted 3 wishes for Aladdin, but unfortunately or happily, my vice president, she wants to help as many guests as possible, so she is granting just 1 wish. That's why my last question for the show today, I hope it will be not the last one, we can meet again and again. So what kind of wish today Jose Angel Jose actually has for my lamp, and actually for your heart? What kind of wish that would be?
Well, today, one of the wishes that is really, I pray every morning on that, is that my country. My
Mhm.
country is passing for a severe process that people are confused because people don't understand that Maduro was taken. He was the head of a regime that had done a lot of evil in my country, but that regime is still there. So
Yeah.
it's not finished. That's why you can hear that people are talking about a transition. That transition, I pray that it can be shortened, because the people of my country really deserve to have a country in peace, with democracy, with free speech, and people that are already all over the world can return to the country and rebuild the country. That's my wish.
Thank you so much. So beautiful, so powerful wish. And it can be even more reinforced and enjoyed by me, by my Ukrainian spirit. And I almost do the same, not almost do the same for my country. We are also in very transitional way to be democratic, so we can really stay hand by hand. So thank you so much from all of my heart, from people who will be listening to me, that you are giving the most precious commodity, what you have to us. It's your time. It's being who you are, how you creating your legacy. Oh my God, if people really could think a little bit to create and just sometimes such legacy, the whole world would totally different place, right? So, but I'm so happy and hopeful by talking openly. You are so boldly, honestly sharing your very powerful, very strong story and how you deal with everything that can really be a game changer. So thank you so much for your wisdom, experience, your heart, your faith. You're carrying these special qualities in your heart, especially for our modern world. People less and less care about these very deeply qualities. So, and to our listeners, please, again and again, remember the diversity of approaches, experience, it really builds wisdom. And today, diversity of thoughts fuels faith, really unbreakable faith in all of us. And how we also talk that everybody should be allowed to be themselves. It doesn't matter culture, religion, that neurodiversity also can be unlocked, and it's a lot of untapped potential. And resilience, the most important. Resilience is what allows us to turn our unfortunate darkest chapters into our greatest contributions. Thank you for listening to The Diversity is the Game Changer. If this episode moved you, inspired you, challenged your thinking, please share it, reflect on it, and most importantly, leave it with faith. Thank you so much again for today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.